Right, before we move on with our discussion and our first report, let me here have again the website of the National Trading Academy for people to participate. And then we move on with our discussions to our first report, and green hydrogen to be introduced in Egypt's 2035 energy strategy. Let's watch.
Hydrogen using renewable energy in production. Growing global demand for green hydrogen should be an eye-opener for the government, the private sector and all parties concerned to prioritize this clean energy resource, building up required infrastructure for this strategic domain. Hydrogen is increasingly used in power generation and industries such as steel, glass and cement, which are difficult to slash its emissions. Egypt has a unique geographical location neighboring Europe, one of the world's top importing markets for clean energy products, boosts Egyptian endeavors to lure global investors to set up hydrogen projects. Moreover, Egypt has all the necessary infrastructure to export green hydrogen to European countries, banking on its natural gas export network. Egypt also has a competitive advantage as roughly 15% of the world's shipping traffic passes through the Suez Canal annually. That may turn it into a global hub for bunkering with green fuels. Therefore, the plans and strategies of the Suez Canal Economic Zone should be in line with the state's drive aimed at boosting a green hydrogen industry and green economy in general. The SC Zone has adopted an action plan consistent with Egypt's Vision 2030 to gradually shift to green economy. It also comes in line with Egypt's hosting of the 2022 United Nations Climate Change Conference, COP27, scheduled for November 7th till the 18th. Green hydrogen has also been a resource of foreign direct investment in the wake of rising global demand for clean energy to reduce dangerous carbon emissions and shift towards a green economy. According to the World Bank, the global hydrogen market topped $135.5 billion in 2018. The International Energy Agency estimates the volume of hydrogen produced at 55 to 70 million tons annually.
Right, welcome back, and all the way towards COP27, which Egypt will be hosting, all the way to go in parallel with our vision for 2030 for sustainable development, all the way for turning Egypt into a global hub for clean energy. That is our topic tonight. Let me again welcome our distinguished guest, Dr. Salah Hafez, former chairman of the Environmental Agency. Thank you again for being with us.
Thank you.
What is the green hydrogen?
Well, the energy, there are different types of energy. Kinetic energy, the energy that needs to move something.
Okay.
The potential energy like electricity. Heat energy to heat something. So there are different types of energy. The conventional way of doing it, producing energy, is to get gas or fossil fuel. Coal, gas and petroleum. Then you process it and get fuel and inject it to the system to produce the type of energy you need. Now this is not a clean energy. The fossil fuel generates carbon dioxide, which is a greenhouse gas, one of the main culprits of causing the global warming and the suffering that the planet Earth is suffering from now. The renewable energy, like the waterfalls or the solar energy or the wind energy, or there are types of nuclear energy is not, it's neither nor. It's almost, it's none, it's not producing carbon dioxide, so it's clean in this sense, but it's depleted fuel, which is the activated uranium, you know. It's, so the green energy is in the hydrogen. All the energy comes from the sun, and the sun generates the energy from hydrogen. So we took this as the first step to implementing the green hydrogen here in Egypt. Green hydrogen is hydrogen produced, because it's not found, hydrogen is not found loose in the atmosphere or on planet Earth. But so you have to generate it. It's in the water. Water is two ions of hydrogen and one oxygen put together. They're stuck together. So when you do the water electrolysis, you separate the hydrogen from the oxygen. The oxygen is released in the atmosphere, and the hydrogen, if it's combined with oxygen again, then you get water and energy. The energy you originally used to separate the two, you can generate the energy again by putting the oxygen and hydrogen. So using the problem with renewable energy is that it's not easily stored. The midstream of the pure renewable, midstream meaning, well, the upstream is the generation, downstream is the consumption. The midstream, the storage and moving and so on, is always the problem. So the hydrogen is a carrier for this energy. So you generate energy from wind. Sometimes you get wind and sometimes you don't get wind. So it's not sustainable and linear in the production. So you need to store it. And after storing it is very difficult. You store electricity. So the batteries are, they're developing but limited. The solar energy is the same. Either you produce low tension, we call it, by photovoltaic that cannot travel for long distances. So if you use the renewable energy generated from sun or wind or so on to electrolyze the water and get hydrogen, then you can store it, you can move it, you can put it in pipeline, you can put it to gas stations for cars to use it. For the cars, you get the hydrogen. It's green because it's generated from renewable energy. So there is no emission of carbon dioxide. Indeed. The blue is something else I will talk about. Yeah.
Please talk about it, because I was just about to ask you. And how about the blue and the gray?
The blue is generated from the methane, the gas, the natural gas that we use for as a fuel. So you do a process called pyrolysis, and you separate the hydrogen, but you emit carbon dioxide. So if you emit it in the air, so it's not clean energy. So you sequestrate or you store it inside the caverns or planet or Earth depleted fields. So it does, but it's not green 100% because you move the methane and leakages will cause greenhouse gases. In the process, when you when you take emit carbon dioxide, then there is a possibility of leakage. So it is blue, but it is still clean, but not as clean as the green. Green is 100% green, 100% green. You emit no carbon dioxide or methane, which is a very bad greenhouse gases. So the project in Egypt is to develop the green energy as a carrier to the energy generated from the renewables, to move it to power stations, to turbines, to cars, and recover the electric voltage and then use it for electric cars. You can use it, so it's carrier. It's not a fuel because the energy is generated, this is the upstream. You separate the two and you have inherent in hydrogen this energy. When you put oxygen, you generate energy. Then you move it, you store it easier. Not fully, the midstream is not fully and cost effectively developed in full, but the progress is huge. And this is the future of the renewable energy. The renewable energy was going in a very slow pace because the development of storage is not easy. Then you can move it by cables. But this is gas. You can compress, and it's small in size, although it is a little bit not developed because the weight is high and the volume is still big. To compress and move for distances. So the midstream, if it is totally sold, which is expected in the coming few years, then all the energy we're going to have, 42% of the energy generated in Egypt from renewables, and then it will be located in different areas. Usually they locate near the water, because you use water. Fresh water, of course, is a problem here. So we use salt water and desalinize, do first, and then produce hydrogen, and then move it freely to like gasoline, like gas or gasoline or pipelines, through pipelines.
Right. All this introduction, I just wanted our audience to understand what we are speaking about, why we are turning into green, why it's inevitable issue to go green and to transform into green. Why is green or hydrogen or green hydrogen is supposed to be the fuel of the future?
Because the fossil fuel is a no-no. Now the developed countries, they use a lot of fossil fuel, but they're phasing out of coal because it's high in emitting carbon dioxide. They're phasing out of petroleum, liquid petroleums, gradually, because again, emits greenhouse gases. And they're changing temporarily to gas. Gas is a cleaner, not clean. But the clean is green. So if they go to develop renewables, it's a very, very slow process. But the greenhouse will make all losses in the renewable will be stored in the hydrogen. So you can phase out of other conventional sources, the fossil fuel, much faster than what we've been doing in the past. So the green hydrogen is a step forward to reach, in the fullness of time, zero emission. And then by the end of the century, we guarantee that the temperature of planet Earth will not increase more than 1.5 degrees, then a plateau that will keep planet Earth continue. Otherwise, we're doomed. If the temperature by the end of the century goes above 105 degree and a half centigrade, then the consequences and the adaptation for the consequences that will inevitably occur will be, you cannot calculate.
So in very simple way, we're just trying for this earth to continue and to exist.
Yes.
Okay. That
because business as usual, they made the scenario business as usual. We go as we go without changing into green. Planet Earth will not survive.
Will not. So we turn to Egypt and Egypt's potential to be a hub for green hydrogen. How do you view Egypt's potentials for that?
Well, very high potential to do so. There is a physical, the infrastructure is there. But the infrastructure is mainly addressing the fossil fuel. So if we add the midstream of the green hydrogen to it, then we can produce electricity faster, and we can export. We are actually exporting to Europe very soon. We're exporting to Sudan, to Saudi Arabia, to Jordan. So because we produce more than, but with green hydrogen, the export processes and hence the income for Egypt will be a real hub, not only for gas, but definitely for gas, because gas will be quite a big issue for the coming 20 years or so. So we will manage that. Less so for the liquid fuel, no coal or the hydrogen is produced from the coal. They call it green hydrogen, gray, because they get carbon dioxide inevitably, so it is not green in this sense.
So, what makes Egypt one of the world's countries to be a superpower in this very particular area? I mean here, how did we prepare for that in our way or all the way towards submitting our request to host COP27?
Well, to my mind, well, the energy generated from hydrogen is known for a long time. But the step was taken after Dohor was discovered in 2015. Dohor is a huge, but it didn't make some green-minded people very happy, because we're expanding in fossil fuels still, although, as I said, it's cleaner. So the leadership of the country decided to do something parallel from the renewable energy to account for, to equal, we call it zero emission. But zero emission, or at least it will generate enough energy to equal the dirty energy, rather than increase in the carbon dioxide emission. So they went ahead very parallel to developing Dohor for renewables, and then inevitably the green hydrogen came, because it's the dawning of green hydrogen all over the world. In the States, they do it. They ran 1,800 miles of pipelines for green hydrogen, and then they have millions of miles of natural gas in the United States. So this is a step, and they expect that in the coming 6 years, the use of green hydrogen will double 50 times all over the world. So Egypt, the timing of deciding to develop the green hydrogen was ideal, really. And we went ahead very aggressively, and now we're in the junction of 3 continents. So if we start exporting energy from our hub to Europe, namely Cyprus and Greece, for the first phase, Europe is emitting still a lot of carbon dioxide. So they allocated 1 trillion euros to decarbonize Africa. They want to decarbonize Africa, because Africa, they use fossil fuel, and so they want to decarbonize it. So in effect, as if they reduce the carbon dioxide, because it's a global issue in Europe. So they allocated this money, 1 trillion euros, to decarbonize Africa. And this is what we're counting on, and it will be presented we'll be very proud to present it in COP27 in Sharm el-Sheikh, that we are, although we're not developed as many other countries, but we managed to get a synergy between the fossil fuel and the green hydrogen in a very short period of time.
Although we're not developed as many countries, but we only emit 0.6%.
It's a global issue. So our contribution to the global issue
Is nothing.
is nothing.
But
So
we are
it's
still
not what
the ones who are calling
It's
on
not,
the world.
but we will be exporting. We'll be exporting and will be energy hub. So this will be green energy hub.
Yes, indeed.
So it will be.
Before I ask about the Egyptian strategy that will be presented, or the Egyptian energy strategy, and how Egypt has been speaking and warning of the climate change and how it reflects. Let me here take the second report in green hydrogen to be introduced in Egypt's 2035 energy strategy. Let's watch.